This is innovative and sustainable learning environments that foster quality, equity and inclusion eHandbook, or shortly ISLE eHandbook. I pronounce it ISLE, but you can also pronounce it ISLE. My name is Tiina Mäkelä. I am a learning environment researcher at the Finnish Institute for Educational Research, University of Jyväskylä, Finland. So now you will familiarize with the Finnish accent. No matter what, I think it's better than AI readers. Sorry for that. This project is funded by the European Union, but the views and opinions expressed are those of the authors. As illustrated by the green-colored outer circle of figure 2 of this book, the ISLE eHandbook aims to support educators in the design, use and evaluation of innovative and sustainable learning environments. Blue circles in the visualization refer to pedagogical, psychosocial, and also technology-enhanced physical dimensions of these learning environments. Pedagogical learning environments refer, for instance, to the teaching methods and learning strategies. Physical learning environments refer, for instance, to this architectural and spatial design, also including the technological infrastructure. And psychosocial learning environments refer, for instance, to the relationships, culture, and emotional climate. Quality, equity, and inclusion are in the orange circle at the center of the visualization. This is because the ultimate aim is that learning environments foster quality, equity, and inclusion in education. The eHandbook includes 7 interrelated chapters, each specifically focusing on one of these core concepts. Let's now go to chapter 1, quality. We begin now with the section 1, theory and definitions. Quality is about how effectively educational stakeholders such as teachers, school leaders, and policymakers support student learning and well-being. As shown in figure 3, quality refers to inputs, for instance, resources, teaching methods, and learning environments. Processes, including teaching or instruction, engagement and assessment. And outcomes, such as learner achievement, competencies, and well-being. To improve learning environment quality, we need to focus on all 3. Inputs are the foundations for the quality. Innovative and sustainable, pedagogical, psychosocial, and physical environments in which learning occurs and which affect learning processes and outcomes are part of the inputs. Processes are about action, how these inputs are used to help students learn and feel well. Outcomes, in turn, refer to results. They include knowledge, practical skills, and attitudes. It's important to note that quality should not be measured only by academic success, but it also should include elements such as a student well-being. In fact, physical and psychosocial well-being are both starting points and goals, because students need to feel well to learn, and good education should in turn teach them how to stay well. Finally, we can say that equity and inclusion are like the glue that holds everything together. It ensures a fair and effective environment for every student. In chapter 2, you will learn more about the equity and inclusion. Now, think for a moment of your classroom environment. What contributes to the quality of learning environments that you use in your everyday work? Try to think of some pedagogical, psychosocial, and physical learning environment elements that are important for the quality classroom environments. What about on the school level? How does our school environment support learning and well-being? What supports the quality of our pedagogical, psychosocial, and physical classroom environments? How does your school direction, for instance, support the staff members to reach the high quality? Or think what are the beyond classroom environments that you use with your students to enhance the educational quality at your school? How do you make the best use out of them? Finally, think of the beyond school environments. How does your school work together with families and other institutions to foster quality in learning environments? You may, for instance, a list of the most important educational stakeholders that you collaborate. What is everyone's role in reaching the high quality? So why is it so important to pay attention on quality? In ISLE project, we analyzed policy documents in the project participating countries. That they are Finland, Sweden and Latvia, quite in the north, and Spain, Italy, Cyprus and Greece in the south of Europe. Obviously, one of the most important documents that we analyzed was the curriculum. In all countries, the policy documents gave their definitions to what high quality education means. This is important as it directly guides our actions. For instance, instructional strategies, funding and expected outcomes. To reach these goals, we must be explicit about quality. It's also essential that school community members and system-level stakeholders share the same understanding of what is considered high quality. Our understanding of quality of education also influences how pedagogical, psychosocial, and technology-enhanced physical learning environments are used, or also designed and evaluated. The policy documents we analyzed shared the multidimensional view of quality, including not only academic attainment, but also European so-called key competencies for lifelong learning. Also well-being, equity and inclusion were considered relevant aspects of educational quality. We found some variation, however, in how explicitly these aspects are connected, in particular to innovative and sustainable pedagogical, psychological and physical learning environments. That is the attention of this book. Each of the 7 chapters of this eHandbook give one perspective of high-quality learning environments. We can say that the risk of low quality emerges when only some learning environment dimensions are pursued without allying them to the others. For instance, if you just focus on innovation in physical spaces and then pay less attention on inclusion or sustainability in your pedagogical and psychosocial learning environments, there is a risk for low quality. And then in figure 4, there's a picture of our school spaces. You can see that they appear spacious, they have lots of light, they balance white color with bright colors, and display student work on the walls. This space could be considered to provide good action possibilities to develop high-quality teaching, learning, and social relations. In addition to policy document analysis, we have interviewed various educational stakeholders in all project countries. They include national, regional, and local decision makers, teacher trainers in both initial teacher education and those focusing on teachers' professional development. Also researchers and other experts in this field were interviewed. Then we also organized focus groups or group discussion sessions with primary school directors and teachers to hear their views. Interviews from the ISLE project suggest that high quality of classroom learning environments depends on a successful match between human activities, that is, how we teach and interact, and physical space design. High-quality pedagogical learning environments were seen to include teaching methods that are flexible, adaptable, and versatile. The methods that the participant teachers listed as important to support educational quality included, for instance, co-teaching, differentiated teaching, learning, collaboration, and active and project-based learning. Also, outdoor pedagogy was seen to give a nice variation for indoor learning. The high-quality physical learning environments were also defined as versatile, flexible, and modular. That refers, for instance, to movable furniture and adaptable layouts that are easy to reconfigure. That is, a high-quality space can quickly switch between group work, individual study, and whole class activities, depending on the pedagogical and psychosocial needs in each situation. In the discussions focusing on a classroom-level examples of a high quality, participants considered that quality and participation are sustained, for instance, by combining whole group teaching in short introductions and wrap-ups, for instance, with more active, personalized or collaborative work. As an example, rotating activity stations were mentioned as useful. Moreover, teachers commented that relying on textbooks only does not lead to high quality. Instead, quality is built through strong curricular knowledge, commitment, and perseverance. Continuous professional growth was also seen as important. In Figure 5, there is a breakout area connected to more closed classroom that can be used for group work. This gives us more possibilities to go beyond the classroom, but still have our students close to us when they need support. To this section, we have included some school-level examples of a high-quality pedagogical, psychosocial, and physical learning environments. These were expressed in our discussions with different educational stakeholders. First, innovative learning environments that were listed include, for instance, team teaching and collaborative planning. This means that teachers work together in shared spaces and co-design interdisciplinary projects and lessons. This approach was seen to leverage the strength of different educators and to model collaborative problem solving also for students. Also, informal and social learning spaces were mentioned. This means that the school provides areas beyond traditional classrooms, such as reading corners, relaxation zones, and open common spaces. In these spaces, students can learn independently, collaborate informally, or simply recharge. The point is that learning can happen everywhere. Then, what comes to sustainable learning environments? Participants viewed that the learning environment quality can be supported by integrating sustainability principles into design. And some of the examples were eco-designed physical spaces. This means that the school building and schoolyard are intentionally designed to encourage sustainable behaviors. Elements such as natural lighting, ventilation, and green spaces make it easy and inviting, for instance, to conserve energy and connect with nature. Also, learning spaces that promote resource efficiency were mentioned. Classrooms and common areas can be equipped, for instance, with visible recycling stations, water-saving devices, and energy-efficient appliances. This makes sustainable choices the default and most convenient option for everyone. There's also a Figure 6 that gives an example of a versatile teaching strategies combining computer-based and hands-on activities in a primary school setting. Continuing with the school-level examples, many stakeholders we interviewed in this project, they expressed that to sustain inclusive, high-quality learning environments, we need to have enough time for continuous professional development and also for adapting policies to the school community's specific profile. Other school-level examples that were considered to foster quality include annual goal discussions with teachers to plan professional development systematically, and joint planning, facilitation, and participatory processes in physical learning environment design. Also, practice-based professional development, such as learning walks through the school building, were seen to help leaders and teachers observe together learning environments and then align school-wide expectations. Here you have a Figure 7 that just illustrates the presence of high-quality musical instruments that are available for students to practice in one school. When discussing the educational quality on a school system level, beyond school level, it was generally agreed that the quality cannot be measured solely through academic results. It was seen as important that the concept of educational quality also includes elements such as students' presence, participation, and progress in diverse, both indoor and outdoor learning environments. Our stakeholders also viewed webinars, seminars, fairs, and open platforms as important for sharing and disseminating good practices beyond school level. Some of them mentioned that national evaluations and broad learning environment studies could be used to inform policy and system improvement. And then research collaborations such as the School Well project in Finland was given as an example of generating shared school improvement ideas. Also, the importance of considering the design, use and evaluation of learning environment in teacher education became clear. Learning environments can be, for instance, a transversal topic in teacher education. One participant mentioned a reflection on video extracts from real school settings that could be used to learn about learning environments. Finally, school visit, peer observation, and exchange with other schools were viewed as useful to learn how spaces support different pedagogies. By these practices, effective organizational routines can be spread. Now we reach the final reflections section of this chapter. Again, first take a moment to think of your classroom environment. How could examples of this eHandbook be applied to your everyday pedagogical, psychosocial, and technology-enhanced physical learning environments? What challenges would you need to tackle to ensure the high educational quality in your classroom? Next, think of this topic on a school level. What initiatives could you develop in your school community to improve the quality of our learning environments? Who should be involved in this work? If it's difficult to work on a whole school level, what could you do even with a small group of colleagues? Or then beyond school level, how could you enhance your collaboration with stakeholders representing out of the school learning environments, both in the local community and more widely, to reach better quality? Think, for instance, who would you think you could contact first to initiate a collaboration that goes beyond school level? Now, in references and further reading, some references provide more information on how to define quality in education. There are, for instance, the OECD publication, Equity and Quality in Education, Supporting Disadvantaged Students and Schools. And the publication Defining Quality in Primary and Secondary Education, published in International Educational Studies, is a good reading. Then there are a couple of publications from Professor Leonidas Kyriakides, who is the project leader. He's the project leader. From him and his colleagues, there are these articles. One is, Can Schools Achieve Both Quality and Equity? Investigating the two dimensions of educational effectiveness. That is published in Journal of Education for Students Placed at Risk. And the other is Improving Quality and Equity in Schools in Socially Disadvantaged Areas. That's published in Educational Research. Then there's one article from our Australian colleagues discussing learning environments' influence on students' learning experience. That's published in Learning Environments Research Journal. And finally, there are also 4 publications from me and my colleagues. One is published in International Journal of Wellbeing. That's useful if you want to read more about how to conceptualize holistic well-being at schools. And then there's an article, Design Framework and Principles for Learning Environment Co-Design, synthesis from literature and 3 empirical studies. that's published in buildings. This is might be interesting if you want to see a research-based framework for designing high-quality pedagogical, psychosocial, and technology-enhanced physical learning environments that foster both learning and well-being. That's my work, basically. And then there's a publication, Teachers and Students' Perspective on Learning Environment in Finnish Upper Secondary Schools, in International Handbook of Research on Learning Environments. And well, that continues with the same topic. There's an updated learning environment design framework. And finally, there's one publication named as Multidisciplinary Perspectives on Learning Environment Design. In this publication, you can see how we analyzed how physical space design can support learning, teaching and learning, transversal 21st century key competencies. This publication includes lots of pictures if you just like to scroll through it. So thank you very much for listening, and to learn more about the project, go to our webpage either using the link or the QR code provided in this slide.